Hey everybody, welcome back to Just Talking Around. Today we're joined by a very special guest, a good old friend of mine, and also a college athlete, football player, Justin Villanueva. Justin, why don't you just give a little introduction on who you are and where you go to school, what position you play, all that.
So my name is Justin Villanueva. I go to Saint Anselm College. I play football out there, and I'm from Lowell, Mass.
Sweet. And so like, what's your like training and like practice schedule looking like lately, like especially with like all the COVID guidelines and all that stuff, like, and trying to fit in working with teammates, and um like the fall season didn't happen, right?
No, we didn't have a fall this year.
So are you guys playing in the spring? Like, how is that working?
So what we did as a school, we ended up just not having any games this spring or in the fall. So we just had like a training period where we'd go at least 4 times a week, 5 times a week, depending if we were able to, just lifting, running, and just getting on the field in small groups.
Like all contactless stuff, pretty much.
Yeah, for the most part, we separated up in phases. So
Mm-hmm.
like for 2 weeks we'd be in helmets, then that following week we'd be in shoulder pads, and then eventually we'd just gradually make our way to going up in full equipment.
I got you. So yeah, what's the training like looking like now?
So right now we're 6 days a week. We got film practice in the mornings, and then occasionally we'll have a little early morning practice at like 6 in the morning on Thursdays.
Oh man. So how do you balance all this with like your schoolwork and wait, is that your thing or my thing?
That's my computer.
Okay. So yeah, how do you balance like your schoolwork with all this and like a little bit of like social life? Like, what's that balance like for you?
So like it's a little tough, you know.
Yeah,
School's a little bit challenging more academically, so you really got to prioritize school first and then figure out everything after. But for the most part, there's a lot of free times on your hands. So just time management's really the way you go around it.
yeah, definitely. Um, what's your like schedule looking like? Pretty much like from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed.
So I usually get up around like 7:30, get breakfast, have like class at 9, then have another usually like another class at like 10:20. But
Mhm.
then there's like a small break where we get our meetings in, get our food in, then usually have another class by around 2. Then it's football from there on after.
And then pretty much you just grind until you go to bed.
Yeah, pretty much every day.
Oh wow. So I know growing up you played a ton of sports. I know you played basketball, played a little baseball, also football, obviously. When did you first start playing football?
So I started playing football, I think, in around 6th grade, 5th grade, around there.
Hmm.
That's when I
And
first started.
what really brought you to the sport?
Just like the fact that it's the most physical sport you probably could play, where you actually hit somebody, and
Hmm.
just like the team camaraderie aspect about it. Because now you can't just have one dominant person on the field. It's really a collective group and working together.
Definitely. And you also had an older brother that played too, right?
Yep.
Um, what was uh, what was that relationship like, especially when it came to playing sports and stuff?
It was a good relationship. Me and him, we still talk to each other here and there. He
Hmm.
just actually moved out to California
Oh
earlier
wow,
this fall to get for a job.
that's
So
awesome!
like,
Congratulations to him.
of course.
Yep.
So like, really competitive though. We always used to compete no matter what it was. Video games, racing each other down the stairs or something.
Yep. And when it came to did you guys practice together a lot too, or did you guys pretty much keep that like separate? I don't know.
No, we for the most part coming up, we trained together,
Hmm.
uh, lift, run, hit the field with each other. Um, but as we got older, it more like we'd separate each other just because he'd have to go and practice with his teammates because
Yeah,
they got to
yeah.
work on their connection, and I would just work on my teammates. We practice our connection, so that's pretty much what it was.
What's the age gap between you guys?
It's about like 3 4 years.
Oh, okay. Um, so how would you say that being like a multi-sport athlete growing up and throughout high school too helped you in in the different areas, whether it be in your different sports or just in life in general?
And it helps a lot just because like everything you really got to do, you got to be focused on more things than others. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Definitely. And we'll go back to a little bit more about like your brother and stuff, but how would you say that your family in general impacted your life and your sports career too?
Yeah, family is pretty much everything for me. They
Hmm.
pretty much got me to where I am today. Really, remember just being a young kid, we used to always work out, go to the park. We're always practicing something. If it wasn't baseball, it's basketball. It wasn't basketball, it's football. You know,
Right.
we just always find a way to do something around sports to keep us busy and entertained with each other.
Definitely. um what All right, who would you say were like your biggest role models growing up? Someone that you looked up to and maybe like influenced the way that you lived your life or practiced on the field and like in all those areas. Like who would you say, it could be more than one person too, were like the biggest like influences for you?
I'd say growing up, biggest influence was really my dad. He really showed me what it was to like really become a man and get things done,
Hmm.
just overcoming adversity, becoming the person I am.
Definitely.
And that just carried on. I'd slowly like see glimpses of people coming into my life, really giving me the opportunity of just bettering myself. So just little things in here people have taught me.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
um what is there any teammates that you played with that you feel like you learned a lot from? It could be someone that was older than you on the team, someone that maybe was the same age that you also like just learned from, like any teammates in specific that really set a good example as well.
Yeah. First one that comes to my mind is older. That is Sean Bryan.
Hmm.
He was used to play at Sam State. He's like a older brother to me. He pretty much taught me just hard work, get things done, how to get things done and achieve a matter, like when to take things serious, when you can take time to joke off and stuff, you know.
Yeah, Sean, when I was a freshman on the cross country team, he was a senior, and he was like yeah, he was definitely a great role model, good leader. um Another multi-sport athlete. He did cross country, basketball and track, so yeah, definitely. And who would you say were your favorite athletes growing up, or still to this day? Who do you look up to like as a professional athlete?
So I'd say football wise, I had to give it to Ray Lewis just because
Hmm.
that meanness that he always came to the field with. I try to incorporate that into my game. But I say right now, I try to incorporate my game to Luke Kuechly, just the way he cuts teams up, figures out what they're gonna run and stuff. Try to
Hmm.
model myself up to him.
Definitely. Yeah, those are definitely good players in the same position as you too.
Yeah.
Yep. So, um, what lessons have you say? Well, what lessons would you say that you learned from playing football?
For sure, I'd have to say that you trust and accountability would be like the main two. Like you
Mhm.
got to be able to trust your brother to go make that play. You got to be able to give your all out on every single play, no matter what, and just not giving up when things get tough. You know, because the adversity always comes no matter what, whether it's at halftime or third quarter, and you can just apply that to life too.
Definitely. What would you say was the biggest moment of adversity in your athletic career?
Biggest, I'd have to say, don't remember which. I'm trying to remember which game it was, but like majority all my playoff basketball games usually always get down tight to the wire, and we
Hmm.
always look on each other to come up with something. Like specifically, when we play Central Catholic, I forget either my junior year, Alex had either fouled out or Carlos had fouled out, and they needed somebody else to come step up, and that's when you see like all the role players be like, all right, now it's my time to do this thing. They do their
Hmm.
thing, get the job done, you know.
Yeah. And what would you say is your favorite memory from high school basketball?
favorite memory. Oof, basketball has brought me so many memories. Um, just playing in against Cambridge. And they packed the whole stands, just standing room only. We played them my junior year. That
Oh
was like the
yeah,
most
I
trying
think I
game.
remember that. I think I remember being there. That
I
was
was like
a
45
game
or
on the
something.
road, right? And they
Yeah,
had the stadium that had like an upper level almost, and there were people standing in there. I think it
yeah.
was that one. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was a sick game. Um, all right. Well, we'll shift into more fun questions now. Do you have any like pregame like rituals or like superstitions that you do?
Yeah, so people think it's funny that I do this though. So I usually always go before I step on the field. I always step with my right foot, and they're always like, "Yo, what do you always do chopping your feet for before you step on the field?" She's like, "It's just something I do."
When'd you start doing that?
Ever since I started playing sports, something just my dad told me to do. And I just kept on doing it. Things just kept on working, so I stopped doing it.
Yeah, definitely. And what would you what would you say was your biggest takeaway from high school sports?
Just like
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And then I have a follow-up question, my bad.
that's all good. Uh, just like all the people you meet in high school, like when you play high school sports, you like end up feeling like you're like a brotherhood, really. Like you get so close to these guys for these next like 4 years, and that you just see them grow as a person.
Yeah, definitely. Um, who would you say was the closest teammate that you had?
I'd say my closest teammate would have to be Alex Rivera, really.
Hmm.
Just coming up in that basketball when I used to play basketball, we literally out there almost every day, just working, working, working. And he's taught me some things. I've taught him some things, and I'm definitely gonna remember the things he's taught me. And
Definitely. And when it came to picking a college sport between like basketball or football, what went into weighing that decision? Because I know both sports mean a lot to you.
so yeah, like playing basketball, I really enjoyed it. I took it as far as I could, really, with AAU. I ended up playing on a circuit team. That's pretty much like the Adidas Gauntlet team. I used to play for Rivals. So like started doing that, and then that's when as soon as I started receiving interest for football. So at that point, I was just left with like, all right, you got to choose one if you want to really pursue what you want to pursue. So I just
Yep.
stuck with football.
Um, growing up, did you always envision yourself um, going with football over the other sports or no?
Not really. I was really what came to my mind is just like whatever one comes first. I just want to just want to play ball.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so now that so this is your second year in college.
Yep.
What would you say was the biggest transition from high school sports to college sports?
So like a lot of people don't really understand. Like they say the speed of the game really changes, but that's not really the case. It's like it's really the technique and preparation that people put in. That's how they perform as fast as they do. They put themselves in positions to make plays.
Um, do you notice like a different level in like I don't know, this is kind of a stupid question. I was gonna say, do you notice like a different level in intensity? But obviously people are gonna be intense no matter what level they're playing at, right?
Yeah, no, but high school to football is definitely high school to college football. That is, it was two different intensities.
Hmm.
Uh, they run it. It's more strict. They run it everything down to the last second. The way we run our practices, everything's done by period. So we'll have about like 24 periods within that practice. So you have the bell going off every time it's another period. So it's just a fast transition to the next drill, next thing we're doing.
Yep. So obviously because of the pandemic and stuff, like you pretty much missed out on an entire season, right?
Yeah.
So is there like a red shirt thing that people are doing? Like are you doing something like that? So maybe you could like get a full 4 seasons in, or how is that working out?
So something's in the works of it. They glad that they pretty much gave everybody another year of eligibility.
Okay,
because
good. Yeah.
so that gives me the opportunity if I can, if I want to, I can come back for my
For
after I
a fifth
graduate.
season, pretty
Yeah,
much. That'd be
pretty
nice.
much.
And when you were in high school, were you also a linebacker, or were you playing other positions as well?
So I also played running back other than linebacker.
Um, how did you how did you pretty much decide that you wanted to do linebacker when it came to college, or was that kind of like placed on you, where the coach was like, "All right, this is where we need you"?
It's more of like where the coaches really want you.
Hmm.
Like you can always try to, but I preferably like linebacker just because I'm a defensive guy. I like
Hmm.
locking people up.
Definitely, definitely. And is that a position that you played like all your years growing up too?
No. So actually, my very first position I ever played was right guard. Used to be a little boy. And then it wasn't until like seventh grade, eighth grade where they changed my position to linebacker. I had no idea what I was doing, but they just pretty much just told me to go hit somebody. So I just did.
Yeah, just put like the most athletic kid on the field at linebacker. Just see what happens.
But,
And all right, so another question, real quick. What would you say? What advice would you give to any young athletes? Maybe they're in middle school or high school right now, looking to make it to the college level and play there.
so for all you young athletes that's really trying to make it to the next level and be the best version of yourself, you got to check your attitude at the door first and foremost, because like that's one thing I realized. Coaches at the next level really don't play games because they're looking to find the best players to fit their program. And just going about it as from a recruiting standpoint, you want to make sure your film stands out. You want to make sure you're standing out at practice. You want to be able to clock in that extra work, even just because you're clocking in work at practice doesn't and you go home doesn't mean you just stop. Like it comes down to watching film, working out, running on your own. For the most part, you do things on your own, you know? Like you just gotta get comfortable being uncomfortable. Like do things without people watching you.
Hmm. Definitely. What would you say was like the biggest realization you had when you transitioned into college football?
So like the biggest transition really is that in high school you get like the oldest person's usually around 18, 19 years old. And transitioning into college, you gotta understand that you're going into men's and women's sports. So you'll get as old enough as like 22, 23 even. So preparing yourself to play at that level, you have to come correct. You gotta come in faster, stronger, and mentally prepared to handle anything that comes at you. One thing that I personally went through was that coming into my fall camp, I had some goals of, oh, I wanted to start, I want to do this and that. I slowly saw that stuff start to dwindle because it's a more you have to earn your stripes type of thing.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
you're not clocking in the hours to get onto the field. The coaches aren't going to trust you to put you out there. You got to show that you really want to be out there.
What does my voice cracked. What does being from Lowell mean to you?
What it means to me is just like when you're from Lowell, you bring a certain character to the table. A lot of people from Lowell are what my coach calls blue collar mentality people, where when the going gets tough, you got those people are coming to stand out no matter what happens. They're fighting adversity right in the face. So like everywhere I go, I make sure people know that we're just not people that can be just stepped on. Like
Hmm.
we're hot. We're trying to achieve the most we can. We try to work hard. We're hardworking people. We support one another. We get things done. So I got that on me. If
Mill
people
City, baby.
know how it goes.
Yep. All right, we can go back to this conversation, but I want to switch gears once more, and maybe we can have a little more of a fun conversation here too. Um, so I obviously you have been dedicating your life to like basketball and football playing, but I also know that you're a pretty big fan. So what's your take on the Patriots recent offseason moves?
They made some power moves. They're looking pretty serious this coming season. I want to know what Bill is doing with his picks, though. That's the only thing.
Yeah, yeah. But were you happy that that Cam's coming back, or did you want to see them switch it up?
Man, I believe in Cam, you know?
Yeah, me too.
It wasn't until after he got COVID is when things started going a little downhill. But
Yeah, that's
before
how
that,
I feel the same
he
way.
was
Yeah.
working.
That game against Seattle, even though we lost, he looks so good.
Bruh. People doubt Cam. Cam's on the come up. You just
Yeah,
need another.
I think so too. I'm rooting for him. And all right, well, I know if I remember right, you're a huge LeBron fan, right?
Yeah, LeBron's a guy.
So would you say you're more of a Lakers fan than a Celtics fan right now?
As of right now, yeah, I say that.
So do you got them winning the finals? Do you think the Nets are going to put up a pretty good challenge?
Man, the Nets, what the Nets is doing, it should be illegal. That's another Warriors team in the making.
It's crazy. I don't know how they I don't know how whatever team KD on just gets away with doing that, but I mean um more power to him, I guess.
Exactly. Well, we'll see him in the championship.
Yeah. How do you feel about the Drummond signing?
Man, it's a pickup, you know.
Yeah.
But he works with his pieces. He's gonna do his thing. That's what I like about LeBron. He puts a lot of role players around him instead of just like stacking up his team. He develops
Yeah.
more people around him, if anything.
Definitely, definitely. When did you first become a LeBron fan?
LeBron fan from the jump, really.
Really?
Messed with him in '03 when he was in the Cavs.
Back when you were what, 2 years old?
Exactly. That was legit.
Is that did you like grow up watching sports with your brothers and dad and stuff?
Yeah. We pretty much just had sports on the entire time. Sports
Yeah,
Center was on, you just see the highlights, see who's clipping. Eventually, we just started, as we got older, we started just having the games like, oh, who's playing on Friday? Who's playing on this day? And we just have it up right there ready to go.
definitely. And I know that um you mentioned that the schoolwork is a lot harder like now for you in college and stuff, or a lot more time consuming at least.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
um what are you studying?
Right now, I'm actually declared my major as a marketing major.
And is that something that you always thought you wanted to do, or how did you come about picking that?
So I first started off actually trying out computer science,
Hmm.
and kudos to those guys because that stuff's different. And then I tried to do biology. I wanted to do something with exercise science, and then I'm keeping that in my little back pocket. Just
Hmm.
didn't like bio was just a route for me. I wasn't really liking it. And then marketing, I could really express my opinion, actually talk people ideas, and have give people a better understanding of what they could possibly do. So I just fell in love with that aspect of it.
Yeah. So where do you um what do you see as your career path, like ideally?
Um, I don't know, really. Um, Something with marketing, anything really. Um, where I
Because
can put.
I know
Right?
you made some posts like maybe it was a few months ago. You're saying like how you're looking to make some moves in the marketing world. You want to help people out. You want to do some stuff. So I just was wondering, like, what are you really up to, if you can disclose that information?
I'll disclose a little some. Um, I am trying to help out. Like I've seen like clothing lines, local clothing lines. Like I know we've seen the House of Bat, Formula. I know you've seen those lately on
Yep.
IG. Eventually, at some point, I'm trying to communicate with them to see if they'd like to take it to the next level. Because I've made some pretty good connections while at this school, where other fellow students that I was talking to um, know how to get a lot of people to view and purchase their products.
Like what, via like online website stuff?
Yeah, via online website stuff.
Yeah, 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 I got you. So yeah, that's pretty much everything I had. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. It was great having you, and bro, I wish you the best. What's the wait? Where can they find you on like social media and follow you and all that?
So you can actually find me on IG. Just search up Justin V. My IG tag is j.av. So it's JV. And then
Mhm.
on Twitter, you can find me at J from the Ville.
All right, and everyone, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, share this with a friend, and everyone go like Justin's most recent post for me. And hopefully we'll have you on again. We could talk about hopefully like a season that actually gets to get played. And
course.
and yeah, that conversation would be a lot of fun too. And yeah, thank you everyone, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.
Ooh, look at my diamonds, look at my drip, yeah. Ooh, I'm getting blessed, I feel like it's a dream, yeah. Ooh, yeah, I'm the man, yeah.